There's a quiet strength in turning your back and walking away. This is the subtle art of release, and I have 3 ancient parables that will help you master it. Our first story begins with a creature of dawn. His name was Kale, a rooster whose voice was a clarion call across the valley. Each morning, his powerful cry pierced the darkness, a living bell that roused the sleeping village and ushered in the day's labor. He believed his work was vital, a sacred duty, but the villagers did not see a guardian in the dark. They saw a nuisance. They shouted curses through clods of earth and wished for his silence. Day after day, Kale absorbed their bitterness. A faithful servant met only with scorn. One misty morning, after a particularly harsh insult, Kale stood upon his perch. He gazed at the fading stars and made a decision. When your gift is treated as a curse, he thought, to remain is to disrespect yourself. With a heart heavy not with rage, but with profound weariness, he drew one last breath. He let out a final resonant crow that echoed over the silent farms. Then he spread his wings and flew toward the distant mountains, seeking a place that might hear his song as a blessing. That very night, disaster visited the unprepared village. Thieves, who had long noted the reliable alarm, struck in the deep silence before dawn. There was no warning cry. The village was plundered utterly. At sunrise, the people found only loss where their wealth had been. In that moment of devastating clarity, they understood. Kale was not just a noisemaker, he was their sentinel. But understanding came too late. Life's lesson here is piercing. Sometimes the highest form of honor is a silent departure. Release is not an act of defeat, but a declaration of self-worth. It is closing a door that others have left swinging on broken hinges. You stop knocking on the door that was never meant to open. Now let me share a second tale that dives even deeper. In the currents of a great river lived a tortoise named Saul. He was patient, his shell a fortress against the rushing flow. Each day he undertook a crossing not for himself but for a companion, a fretful squirrel named Keo. Keo feared the water's depth but refused to learn to swim. For seasons uncounted, Saul carried him, feeling the scratches of anxious claws on his back. Yet upon reaching the far bank, Keo would scramble away without a glance, never acknowledging the labor that bore him. A great drought came. The river shrank, revealing a path of stepping stones. Midway across, Keo saw his chance. Without a word of thanks or farewell, he leapt from Saul's shell and bounded across the stones, believing himself finally free of his slow transport. Saul paused in the shallows, feeling not the loss of weight, but the crushing weight of years of ingratitude. That evening, a wise kingfisher landed nearby. "Saul," it said, "you have the strength to bear the river, but not every soul deserves a place on your journey. Some burdens you must choose to set down not because they are heavy, but because they are hollow." A tear lost in the river marked Saul's moment of release. He forgave not Keo but himself for carrying a disrespect he never earned. The greatest burden is often the weight of another's disregard. When the rains returned and the river rose, Keo found himself stranded. The stones were gone and the current was fearsome. He looked for Saul, but the tortoise was long gone, traveling lighter in both body and spirit. The message is clear. Not every passenger appreciates the vessel, and you are not required to drown for those who will not even learn to float. Our final story is of a silent watcher. In a forgotten lane lived a stray cat named Ember. Each dawn, he would sit before a grand house where a porcelain bowl sat perpetually empty. He nurtured a fragile hope that today perhaps someone would see his worth and offer a simple kindness. A woman inside watched him daily from her window, yet never moved to open the door. One brittle winter morning, as Ember shivered before the vacant dish, a sleek cat with wise eyes approached. "That bowl will never be filled by her hands," she murmured. "You were not born to be a monument to someone else's indifference." The words settled in Ember's heart like a final, quiet truth. He looked at the unmoving door, then turned and walked down the lane without a backward glance. There was no fury, only a serene and solid conclusion. He chose to stop waiting for a mercy that would never come. This is the essence of silent release. It is the courage of the rooster who flies, the wisdom of the tortoise who swims alone, and the dignity of the cat who seeks his own sun. It makes you invincible from the inside, because the person who learns to walk away from a table where they are not fed can never be starved of their own self-respect. If this wisdom resonated with you, please press like. It truly helps our channel, My Stories TV, to grow and share more stories like this. Share your own moment of release in the comments below.